Hi everyone and welcome back to ONCOFFEE. I'm Vahe and today I'm with Dr. Oriol Mirallas, a medical oncologist training in the investigational cancer therapeutics department at MD Anderson. He studied medicine in Catalonia and trained in medical oncology at Vall d'Hebron before moving to Houston. Oriol, it's great to have you here.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
So before we dive into your story, I want to share about coffee, a coffee tradition. Did you know that the idea of coffee break actually started with a marketing campaign in the 1950s? The Pan American Coffee Bureau launched the slogan, "Give yourself coffee break," to promote coffee in the workplace. It caught on so quickly that it became a global cultural norm. So in a way, every time we take that moment for a cup of coffee, we are part of this long-running tradition. So do you have any coffee rituals or moments during your day that helps you pause and reset, even if just for a few minutes?
Right. So I really, I enjoy having the first thing in the morning. I prepare it and then I put it in a jar and take it to the clinics. And after, seeing a few patients, and I like to take a 5-minute break with my coffee. And also when I used to study more for the preparing of, the residency and all that, we also first thing while studying it was kind of a ritual to get, your brain going, and it really helps. Also back in Barcelona, it's more a social thing on top of a break thing, which I agree with. I mean, that marketing campaign, that did work. But in Barcelona, we like after lunch, take like a short espresso, and that also we enjoy that after having lunch. So those are the two main moments that I take my coffee.
That's great. And cheers. I hope our conversation will be great.
Cheers.
So Oriol, what shaped your move from medical school in Catalonia to residency at Vall d'Hebron and now to MD Anderson Cancer Center?
Right. So it takes back, to be honest, I've never, there's only one doctor in my family. It's an uncle, and I never knew that I would be a doctor. So everything started when I came here in the States to do my bachelor. So I started doing biochemistry in a small school in Tennessee. And then since they have here in America the core curriculum, I discovered that, I was going to a technology, basically maybe engineering stuff, career, if I could stay in Spain. But here I did biochemistry. So I did chemistry and biology courses, and I had a really good mentor, Dr. Pickard, that recommended me, go to biochemistry, it's a new field, blah, blah, blah. And we started doing that bachelor. And by the end of my senior year, I was like, okay, so what do I do with this now, right? So he told me, you have 3 pathways: pharmaceutical company, the research lab, and being a doctor. I'm like, okay, let's explore those. So I started exploring those. I went to the lab. I liked the science very much, and I actually did a lot of lab back in the day. I didn't go into a pharmaceutical company. My dad has been there, and well, I know stories, and I didn't want to pursue that. So then let's go back to Barcelona and shadow some doctors. So I did that, and I really enjoyed it. I actually discovered, one of my passions that I didn't know. So then I was about to stay here in med school in the States, but finally for family reasons, I had to come back, and I started in Barcelona. So that's kind of the starting pathway that brought me to medicine to begin with.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. What was the biggest adjustment moving from Europe to US?
Well, the residency in Vall d'Hebron was great. I learned a lot. I had great colleagues, and oncology there, I did lung cancer and phase 1 clinical trials, and I really enjoyed my job. We had a great team, and it's one of the biggest centers in Europe. So I mean, I was happy, but I always had this US background that I know how here things are. The working system is different, and I really enjoy the partnership, the networking, and I really felt like going to MD Anderson would I could make a difference, if you like, and I think here it's a great opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've been here for a month and 2 weeks, so I'm still adapting. It's different system, but I'm learning a lot, and looking forward to try to make my little grain.
That's great. I hope the things for you will set up well. So, Oriol, for people outside oncology, what does your day actually look like at ICT?
Right. So we basically, it's a fellowship trying to, understand more about the phase 1, the clinical trials, and bring in basically new drugs to patients that do not have an option or they have a specific molecular target, and we think that that new drug is going to be better than the standard of care, right? So my day, it's composed of 3 days of clinics. So, we prepare all these clinics, all these patients that come in, and trying to find, we understand their medical history, their oncological history, and then we try to match what we think is going to be the best trial. So we do that for 3 days, and there's 2 days of research when we try, to move forward with original research. It's either taking the samples from patients and trying to understand the mechanisms of resistance to new drugs like ADCs or target therapy. And then there's a lot of, reading and writing and trying, together with our colleagues to try to bring things forward.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. You worked across phase 1 and phase 3 trials and been sub-investigator on a lot of studies. What's the most rewarding part of doing clinical trials?
I think, bringing new hope, new molecules to patients that, they might not have anything. So we're trying to bring, innovation and things that may change their lives, and we have patients that got into a phase 1 trial, and, I had patients at Vallebron which got the first atezolizumab in Europe and for a lung cancer, and they're 12 years ahead, and they're alive, doing their life, and that in other times that would not happen, right? So it's true that we see a lot of failures as well, but when you have these patients that respond and they have a really prolonged response, I think that's one of the best feelings.
Yeah, as they say, the best treatment for cancer is the treatment from clinical trials, ongoing clinical trials.
Yeah, so we try, standard of care, there's a lot of great options, and oncology has moved, like, I would say the last 20 years so fast, I mean, we studied like 5-6 years ago, and it's already changing pretty much in all tumor types. So it's a huge movement, a lot of movement, a lot of innovation. So we believe, that still clinical trials with, finding the right patient and the right drug for patients can improve their lives. And that's what we try to do, right? Transparency, trying to find the best drug and look for them, right? Look for their interest. And hopefully, we keep making a change, and maybe one day we can cure this beast.
I hope. I hope. So, Oriol, you focus on ADCs, immunotherapy, and targeted therapy. What's exciting you right now in each of those?
Yeah, immunotherapy, got a breakthrough with the anti-CTLA-4 back in 2011 with the first FDA approval. And since then, it's been a revolution in pretty much all tumor types. And we know now that with a PD-1 or PD-L1 inhibitors, it has been a change in pretty much all tumor types by themselves or in combination with chemo. And what we try to do is to understand those long responders, like 10 to 20% of patients that receive those treatments are alive in the long run. And I think that's, practice changing. That before it didn't happen in oncology, right? You receive the chemo, and that when you stop the chemo because of toxicity or because the treatment, it's what the schema is, then the tumor regrowth, right? So the immunotherapy, you train your immune system, right? And if you like, for people that it's outside oncology, you train your immune system to attack cancer cells. So that's the key, right? To not just attack the cells with the treatment, but understand that there's something in our bodies that can fight cancer by themselves, right? So this immunotherapy breakthrough, 2011, 2014 with a CTLA-4 PD-1, then we're having a hard time to find something better, right? That it's not less toxic, but more efficacious, or having another type of treatment that can prolong that, or that can go after progression to PD-L1 or CTLA-4. So that's kind of the field in immunotherapy, trying to find, the new PD-1, right, if you like. So, and there's other drugs, like as you say, before moving to ADCs or target therapy, there's biospecific antibodies that try to, match the immune system to the tumor cells. And that, that's a different approach to the immunotherapy, and we have a lot of good responses on that in different cancers like uveal or other tumor types, that we see responses like really nicely, and also in small cell lung cancer. So we believe, that either immunotherapy or these bispecific antibodies can change the course of cancer. If you want to move to target and ADCs, I think it's a whole different approach, right? It's attacking the tumor, but understanding the molecular characteristics of each patient, right? So we looked at the tumor in different ways. We can look at DNA, or then we can look at the proteins on the surface of the cells to try to find this pill that will block that molecular alteration, right? Pill for target therapy, an infusion for ADCs, bringing chemotherapy in a delivered or in a targeted fashion, which, we think it's going to increase efficacy and decrease toxicities. But we're working on that, since it's kind of a chemo. When you stop the treatment, sometimes, or most of the times, unfortunately, the tumor comes back. So
thank you for sharing, and it's always fascinates me how fast science is evolving now, and every day we have new drugs and new approvals. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, let me show you. Last week came the Nobel Prize for chemistry in 2022, and she discovered orthogonal chemistry that has been used for the design of ADCs, right? So it's not only medicine per se, but also like all these other fields that can, make a difference. Engineers, chemists, that can, help us find this this magic bullet, if you like, and that would help us to fight cancer, right? And hopefully, with a new molecule or a new combination of molecules, we can make this difference, and hopefully, in the near future, we can tackle cancer better than we're doing right now.
Yeah, in science, everything is mixed, like butterfly effect. Maybe we think it's not connected to each other, but it is. Maybe we didn't find the thread that is connecting them, but it's connected.
Right.
So, Oriol, you posted actively during ESMO about drug development and non-small cell lung cancer. What were your top takeaways this year from ESMO?
Well, I think, if we start with lung cancer, we've seen, as I was saying, bispecific antibodies that have seen like a great response, like the PD-1 VEGF antibody. And we tried that strategy with separate drugs, right? With PD-1 separate and a VEGF separate, and the results weren't that great. But with this bispecific approach, even STMAP, that was a presidential session, there was really good responses with squamous cell, non-small cell lung cancer. So we believe, that was one of the great takeaways. Then we saw new ADCs that have failed in tackling lung cancer, and this ESMO has been presented at really good results with sacituzumab for this specific tumor type. So, the field is moving, and there's a lot of new drugs that we can tackle. So, all this revolution of KRAS, G12D, G12C combined with immunotherapy, that also gives really good preliminary data. And I believe by ASCO 2026, we'll see some of those in phase 2, phase 3 trials that will make, hopefully they will be practice changing, bringing new drugs and new hopes for patients. So that was one of the key takeaways for lung cancer. And as you say, they posted my top 10. I don't want to go over all of those, but, you can look it up on that Twitter. I think those are, we had 7 late-breaking abstracts, and I think like 6 or 7 were in presidential session. So, a lot of hope, a lot of potential practice-changing trials, and some of them already were. And so, as you say, field is moving really, really fast. If we go to the phase 1, we had a lot of new drugs like bispecific antibodies, again, target therapy, new ADCs with different approaches, even tetra-specific antibodies. So the field is moving. There's also CAR-Ts that have been a hassle to move it to solid tumors. We don't have that much efficacy as hematological tumors, but we're getting there. And I know that presidential session is the first time that the phase 1 trial made it to the presidential session with that partial responding uveal melanoma. So I think all that it's going to make a difference. A lot of progression, as you say.
Yeah, from ESMO this year is particularly progressive, and I think every year it's getting more and more progressive, and we are getting more treatments and ways to help patients. So, thinking about the patients, for patients listening, what does progress at ESMO really mean for them in human language?
Right. So, all these congresses, we try to like make it on time, discussing with colleagues, presenting data from clinical trials. And basically, in the end, is trying to improve what we're doing, right? Trying to find a drug that is better than what we have right now. And we really hope that these drugs will make a difference for all of you. And we strongly believe that we can do much better, and biology, it's advancing. It's not only doctors putting the drugs, but all the biology behind it, the basic science, the translational science, that is making a huge difference. And as I was saying before, not only from the medical or biological specialists, but there's a lot of professionals that came into place, right? And trying to bring this field forward and trying to tackle cancer, because it's not only one disease, it's multiple diseases, and depending on the tumor type and the molecular alterations, it's completely different, right? The one patient can go really slow, the other patient can go very fast. Treatments need to adapt to that. And I believe that it's, we might be able to cure it in the near future, but not like a solution for all of them, right? We have, back from the 70s and 80s, chemo can cure germinal cancer, right? And metastatic germinal cancers. And since then, we have not cured a metastatic setting. Now, we can argue, immunotherapy can make a difference for that 10-20% of lung responders. And, if you go to Checkmate for melanoma with Nivo-Ipi, that you have a 10-year survival above 40%. So that is unbelievable news, right? A disease that was deadly by 6 months to 1 year, and now you can go beyond 10 years. So finding that molecule for that specific tumor type or that molecular alteration, it's what I believe it's going to make a huge difference. Hopefully, one day we can say it will tackle it completely.
Thank you for sharing. It was confirming and not biased. And it's not that the treatment can't work for every patient, but it is what it is. I hope in near future, researchers and scientists will find something that will work universally. Maybe I'm biased, but yes, it's okay to drink.
Right.
Oriol, when people hear phase 1 trial, they often think just safe. How do you explain phase 1 and phase 2 trials in 2025 to patients and families?
Right. So, I understand a lot of people think we're just testing and it's very preliminary, and it's true that when the FDA requires phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Now the field is moving forward because phase 1 and phase 2 are incorporating biomarkers, and they focus on a specific populations, and there's a lot of strong rationale behind it. It's not like you would put one drug for everybody, right? So now we're being more selective. There's a lot of strong science behind it. So the idea is that we don't need to go to those big trials and compare to standard of care, which I think we need them to know that we're doing better than what's currently been doing. But phase 1 and phase 2 can bring a huge opportunity, right? Patients that get into phase 1 or phase 2 trial, they get the drug. So there's no placebo, there's no controls, especially in phase 1, they will receive the drug. So it's true that the main goal is safety. So, the first thing is this drug can be, given to human beings. But once, we titrate some of the dose, we already see responses, and, it's in escalation fashion. And there are protocols that allow to increase the dose. So it's not like, even though if you are not in a biological active dose, we can, make there are protocols that allow to increase that dose to make it efficacious. So one goal, and as you say, the primary goal is safety, but more and more we're looking for, efficacy. And we try to match the right patient for the right drug. And, it's not like just trying the drug so we can move the drug forward, but rather, especially from our specialty, to try to find that patient that's going to benefit from all the pipeline that we have here, right? So it's trying to find the right drug for the right patient And the phase 1 can give you that opportunity. There are no placebos, there are no controls, and you will receive the drug. So that's a huge opportunity. And it's true, as you say, it depending on at what point is the phase 1 and phase 2, it's going to be different, right? It's true that phase 2, we look for efficacy, right? Safety has already been proven in phase 1, and we keep on looking for safety in phase 2. But, we have already selected the dose and tumor types that might help or that have a signal in the phase 1. So it's more, if you like, more secure that the efficacy is there. But as you say, even for FDA approvals, the safety, the efficacy is never 100%, right? Not even the safety either. So it's just that we know what kind of safety there is and we know what kind of efficacy that drug may have, right? But some drugs that don't get approved have benefit patients in phase 1, right? Because we don't understand everything that is happening in the cells yet. So sometimes there are drugs that don't get into the market that benefit patients. And I saw yesterday a patient aged 4 years into a CDK2/4 inhibitor that is not going to move forward, but this patient has benefit for 4 years, right? So not always drugs that move forward are drugs that work for everybody. So if you take it backwards, having an opportunity in a phase 1 is it's a great opportunity. It's a new opportunity that you don't have per standard of care. So a recommendation is, if patients want to give it opportunity to something that might help them, it's a good place to be. And trying to find a new drug that it's not in the market and might help them, even though the drug doesn't move forward. So
Thank you so much. It was really comprehensive, and I think our patient listeners will have answers to some of their questions. Of course, not all of them, but thank you for sharing about that. Oriol, let's move from cancer and research to more light topics. Clinic and trials. What helps you reset? I don't know, running, music, photography, cooking. What's your thing? Maybe football, because you're from Barcelona.
Yeah, actually I'm a tennis fan, but I like football. I watch some football, but I'm not a big football fan. Even though we had Messi, Barcelona Football Club, but I'm more of a tennis fan, and we enjoyed having Nadal and now Carlos. I enjoy watching that sport, playing that sport, and actually it's what brought me here in the States back in the bachelor days. So that's one of my favorites. But what helps me most disconnect right now with time-wise as well, it's going running, right? Going running in the morning, first thing before coming to work, you kind of get at it, disconnect, put some music on and think about, your day, what's ahead, what has been. So I would say running is one of the biggest disconnecting things in life. And then going back home after a work day, I have a 2-year-old, so taking care of him as much as I can and being with my wife, then that's rewarding as well. So through, all these things in the weekends, we try, when it's summertime, going to the beach, going hiking. So, there are different things that can get disconnected, and those are the main ones.
That's great. It's really important to have these small things in our life to keep us going. And I wanted to ask about the tennis. Now in tennis world, we new rivalry, Alcaraz versus Sinner.
Yeah.
I want to know your opinion about this too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big tennis fan, as I was saying, and we had this huge momentum with, when I was playing, we had Ferrero, Moya, I even watched Agassi, so I'm not that young. So after that rivalry, they came this huge, I think it's the golden tennis, these 20 years of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. And let me tell you, even though Rafa Nadal is from Spain, this Djokovic, Federer, great. So it's not like you have to be, full supporter for them, because the three of them had huge skills, variety of tennis, and they brought the tennis sport to another huge level. I think I don't know we're going to ever see again until you say the rivalry between Alcaraz and Sinner, which is kind of close between Nadal and Federer back in the day, right? When they were two alone, and maybe somebody else will come up. We expect it to be Rune, but it doesn't seem like he's making it there. So we'll see what's the third Djokovic player. But I think Sinner and Alcaraz have a huge rivalry. It's hard to say, like at some point, you watch Roland Garros and and you think Sinner got it, and then Alcaraz comes back. But then you watch Wimbledon, and you saw Sinner is killing it. And lately in the indoor courts, Sinner is killing it. It's winning like with so much authority that, it's going to be hard for the ATP finals, let me tell you. I think Sinner is going to be the winner, despite I want Alcaraz to win. But I think Sinner is going to get it. I mean, his level right now, it's crazy. But you never know, right? It's different style of playing. Sinner is like more consistent, really solid from the baseline. Alcaraz has more variety of game, with those drop shots and this huge, powerful forehand. But he's more inconsistent, if you like, even though they both great. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to that final. I think today we're going to confirm we're seeing them in the final. Hopefully Alcaraz will win. They're going to meet in the final.
Yeah, what I've noticed so far, Alcaraz is more talented, has more talent, but is not working too much. But Sinner is really consistent with his work and is always, I don't know, trying to do his best.
Right. I think, as you say, consistency in tennis is what make you win, right? If you put one ball over the net more than the other player, right? And I think Nadal was the best at that, right? He was putting one ball over the net. It didn't matter how bad he was playing, how bad of the day he was having. He would fight for it and he would put one more ball over the net, right? And I think Sinner they're not similar players, but what I'm saying is that he puts one ball there, one more, and it's more consistent, as you say, than Alcaraz. So we'll see, it sometimes over the tennis history, we've seen, Sampras versus Agassi, Federer versus Nadal, different styles. But in the end, if you put one more ball over the net, that's, that gives you the win. So it's a tough sport, let me tell you. Psychologically, it's really, really tough when you're there alone. It drives you crazy to be. So I think it's more of a mental sport, even though it's get more physical lately because of the speed, but it's mentally really tough.
Yeah, at the end.
So these guys are amazing. I mean, let me tell you, it's really, really hard what they're doing. That consistency, getting those many Grand Slams, that's ridiculous. And I told, my colleagues, like, getting more than 20, it's insane. Serena as well, like more than 20 slams, it's crazy. But it seems, they already have 6 or 7, I think. So maybe they'll catch up. They're only 20, 22, 23. So we said impossible, and maybe they're going to beat it, right? So we'll see. It's exciting times for Dennis.
Yeah, we have to wait. And at the end, no matter who win, it's a beautiful game. And
right.
Do
you like it? Do you follow it?
Yes, time to time. Now I don't have much time, and I'm more a football.
Right.
Right now I have
okay
football match to catch now. Armenia, Hungary, right after our.
That's true.
Yeah. So
okay.
I love tennis, and I have some friends who also played. So yep, I have a knowledge in that. So Oriol, if a med student or junior doctor wants to get into drug development, where should they start?
I mean, it's a tough question, but I think first thing is understand the biology, the chemistry behind it. The more you know of basic science, the more it's going to help. And then go to do a residency that you do a lot of medicine. Phase 1, it's not easy. Sometimes we get patients at the end of the disease. They're not in a good shape. So you need to, tweak, understand the other illnesses beyond cancer. So, you have to be a good mix between molecular and a good medicine behind it, right? So I would, advocate or push for that strong background. And then when they decided, that they went over medicine and they chose medicine and then they chose oncology, I push that you choose oncology. It's a great field. And we have a lot of, sometimes it's tough to give bad news, but it's a really exciting field to work. And I think, you guys should join that. But after you do the residency in oncology, then, you have all those tumor types, and there are hospitals that people don't know, what's phase 1. So only big hospitals have phase 1. I would recommend them to shadow one of doctors for at least 2 to 3 months to get a grasp of what phase 1 means. It's a whole different system than regular standard tumor type division. But I strongly believe that we're going to change from molecular selected or tumor agnostic approvals And it's not going to matter, I hope, in the future, where is the origin the tumor has, right? So I know phase 1, and if you look at the graphs, there was a lot of phase 3, and now it's moving forward to an increasing phase 1. So I think in the end, many oncologists will need to work or need to understand this field. So my first recommendation to simplify to students is to, contact doctors like us, ask for a rotation, 2-3 months, get a grasp of what is going, big centers in Europe, here in America, whichever center you prefer. But, shoot us up, send us an email, and schedule a rotation to get a grasp. But definitely don't skip during residency the opportunity to look at phase 1, right? So I would definitely do that.
Thank you so much for sharing about the information, and also for telling the students to contact doctors, and also you. Not all of them does that, but it's really nice of you. And Oriol, thanks for taking us inside early phase research. It was really nice to have this talk with you, and it was my honor to have you in ONCOFFEE. I wish you success in your current commitments, and also your future commitments. And I hope one day we're gonna have the bullet, as you were saying, that will kill the beast.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite. I think, these conversations are great. Hopefully we'll grab somebody, and anytime I'm available. Thanks for the invitation and the great work you guys are doing.
Thank you so much for the kind words, and to everyone listening, thanks for joining another episode of OnCoffee. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, share, and of course, keep the coffee brewing. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.